Hello, welcome, friends. Welcome, one and all. I am Chamberlain Jonas of the Wayward Inquisition, here on a very lovely Thursday night. Today, the weather has been very nice to us. Surprisingly so. When I got up for work this morning and felt the cold, brisk air of the morning, I was like, hey, what? It caught me off guard, that's for sure. Let's see, here we go. Gonna do a little sound check just to make sure that I'm a noisy boy. That's me. Man, look at all those cool kids in that picture. I'll be cool like them one day. No, they're way too cool. I can't match that. I mean, there's Amer, Brock, there's Arminius. Yeah. But if you don't know, we here at the Wayward Inquisition, we're a Dungeons & Dragons podcast. And we have all sorts of VODs for you to watch and listen to. We have a high dark fantasy with Treachery, a Governor's Secret. And currently the sequel to that one, Treachery, a Lord's Gambit. And they are both super awesome and totally opposites of each other. Oh man. Yeah, our characters in the first one are phenomenal. So if you're a person that just loves to get to know characters and just learn more about them, see how they work, how they act, and all that good stuff, then yeah, check out A Governor's Secret. The boys, as we refer to them, they're our babies. We love those guys. We went way hard on on the first one, and it shows because it's so good. Not that I'm biased or anything. But, what if fantasy's not my thing, man? I want to go out to space. Well, we got something for you. In fact, we got two somethings for you. We have Star Wars Reconciliation, a duet between myself and our Grand Inquisitor, Courtney. You can actually, let's see, yeah, you can see Sundry here beside me in his hooded dark black and red mask. That one is a Star Wars story about a clone trooper turned Jedi hunter. And is there trauma? Yes, there is trauma. It's not your daddy's Star Wars, I'll tell you that. But man, are the lightsaber Jedi battles freaking awesome. Those were so fun to do. Oh my goodness. Yeah, so we got that one. If Star Wars isn't your kind of sci-fi, our Knight Commander Patrick created a Halo-inspired TTRPG, Arc Outer Rifts. And he took the first-person shooter of Halo and plopped it onto a table. And it worked really well. He made the guns and the lore and how our armor worked. It was really fun. Lots of action in that one, as you can imagine. And of course, Patrick had the unfortunateness of DMing Courtney and I, and so we forced our role play into there to Patrick's chagrin. It's just that's what we do. But, sci-fi, that's for nerds. That's for dorks. I like stuff that's more historical. You know what I'm saying? Well, I do, as we also have The Wicked West. It is a fantasy western, but it is a western nonetheless. A fantasy with no magic, in fact. So it is pretty pure western, sort of. And that one is ongoing as well. And we got two great characters in that one. Courtney plays Amos Montana, and Patrick plays Rorik Allister. And they have been venturing across the western landscape, encountering all sorts of crazy, scary monsters that I have thrown at them. That one has been a lot of fun. They're all really fun. Don't get me wrong. Not that I'm biased. But without further ado, let's get into why you came here. You saw the tagline, Spellcasting? I love spellcasting. Me too, man. Me too. I never got into it, though, and that was my mistake. I had played, two spellcasters prior to playing Sadine, and I was like, oh yeah, I cast the spell, boom, it works, I did it, yay. And that's boring. That's lame. The beauty of playing a spellcaster is getting to describe what your spells look like. That, once when that clicked for me, it changed everything. And now I'm itching to play a spellcaster, and I'm getting to scratch that itch a little bit with a Dawn. And though we haven't had much use for the spells yet, but things are escalating in Lord's Gambit, and it's gonna get spicy soon. I can feel it. But it all changed when we did a one-shot. Courtney was leading it. We didn't stream it, and I don't think we recorded that one either. But I pulled out Sadine because I thought she was a really neat concept. And it was like, I haven't played a spellcaster, and they had just released, or on 5e Tools. By the way, if you don't know about it, 5e Tools is a wonderful website that has basically all your D&D needs in it. But they had released on there was the Blood Cleric, and there were several blood-based subclasses, which I was like, oh, sick. Yeah, I want to try that one out. And I did. Ooh, it was so good. When I went into it, I was like, okay, I'm gonna get into the spell casting, because I was thinking about how would that work, what would blood magic kind of look like. I did this one, what was the spell? I think it was Shatter. Yeah, and it mentioned in the spell of Shatter that you needed a chip of Formica or something, and so I was like, okay, I tried to integrate some of the ingredients, and that's one thing with spellcasting. I'm going to digress here a little bit. It's what we do a lot. With spellcasting, don't be afraid to go outside of the box, because the spells in D&D will list it has verbal and semantics, which semantics is where you're and you do your little jujitsu stuff, and Um, but then it also will list components, and but don't feel you have to use the components in the spell casting, or even all of the components that are listed. Because, like, I think with it, it said that Formica, chip, and I want to say there was like two other things. But I was like, no, this is blood magic, you know? So what she did was she put the chip on her tongue, and then she like carries with her not quite as big and fat as like a sewing needle, but a needle. You know, it's significant, but it's not gonna like kill anybody with the thing. And so she put the chip in, and then she took the needle and stuck it into her throat, and then left it there. And then she, like, you know, she did like this deep breath and and went to like shout, but nothing came out. And then where I targeted the spell, then it, you know, did the shatter. And man, it felt awesome. It felt so good. And even like Courtney was like kind of curious about Sadine beforehand, but once when I started spell casting, she was like, "Dude, I'm all in. Who is this character?" And yeah, that changed. It changed spell casting for me so much. And so now, even whenever I'm describing spells for other people, I feel a little bad because I feel like I hog it. Because some people might like to describe how they attack and do stuff, but I'm very used to them not. So I kind of just jump in. But to those who play with me, feel free to say, "Whoa, Buster, slow your roll. I want to do it." And then you can do it. And so with that, I actually started making a spell casting kind of Google Doc for myself of just, you know, with this one spell, what are the different ways you could cast it? Because there's so many different ways you could cast the same spell. It could change based on the class, on your own creativity, you know. So before I started streaming, I started to mark down kind of the spell casting types. So, you know, I put blood, I did innate, sorcerer, tome, wizard, object, which would be like, you know, because in D&D, if you don't want to use components, you can have an arcane focus, which can be like a little crystal ball or, you know, your staff, a wand. So object is going to be those kind of things. And I would say you could get creative with casting through an object, but it also feels a little more limited with me. But maybe once when I get into it, I might think of some cool techniques. And then I got Warlock because Warlocks have how they kind of get their power, and I think too of how they would cast it, like the aesthetic of it would be kind of just a little different than the others. I mean, it definitely would have the darker tone. Not that all warlocks are like dark patrons, but it's kind of the warlock vibe, you know? But yeah, so I got 5e tools pulled up. I'm down in the cantrip section right now. I changed it so it's sorting them by level. But I'm gonna go kind of through the spell list that I have already. Is there any other kind of spellcaster? Oh, yeah, druid, druidic. Because yeah, I think and this is just how I'm gonna kind of classify these. It would be totally different from person to person, because even Courtney and I see sorcerers pretty differently. But yeah, druidic, because yeah, that one's a more kind of nature casting. And actually, let me kind of cover that too real quick. Of with spell casting, and not only for a player but also for the DM and world builder. Think of how magic works in in your game. Sorry, I'm noticing that I'm just slightly off center. This way, this way. There we go. That's better. Okay, so with magic, is it something they can pull from within them, like DBZ style? This kind of key energy that lies within. Is it something more like the wizard, where you have to study these runes, and it's not just knowing how to say it, but all of the little idiosyncrasies with it of how you wrote it in your book, and it's almost like you're pulling the magic from the ether and then casting it. Warlocks and clerics are a bit on the same path of, you don't have the magic yourself, but some being sends it down to you via Wi-Fi, and then it channels through you. Druidic, I see that one as very, nature-based, being druid, but like they would be limited by their environment. In order to cast a fire spell, they would either need to be in just a hot area or have a fire source nearby. And not that they couldn't kind of bring those things to themselves too. I'll get to that a little bit more later on. There was something else about spellcasting. Channeling, calling it forth. And then, yeah, blood magic is sort of along the lines of warlock and cleric. Sort of. It kind of depends on how you view blood magic. So, like in Dragon Age, you cut yourself, and I would say this is pretty common with blood magic, is you would hurt yourself in some way as a offering to, like the others, that being that's beyond, and then they grant you the power. I also think that blood magic would be along the lines of like a sorcerer, but it's almost like, in order to excite the magic in you, you have to get hurt, and then that kind of like activates it, which then allows you to cast. Oh, also, Nanergoo, I know we had talked about during the stream that I would help you with creating your one-shot. I wasn't sure if we were going to do that today, so I just went ahead and did the spell casting. We can still save that for another time. This week got away from me. One, because we finished up the Ren Fair, which was super awesome. And then two, my older brother and his family came into town, so I've been dealing with nieces and nephews, and they're fun and goofy and loud. They're very loud. In the fun way. And sometimes in the not fun way. That's the ones that really get you. But yeah, so at the very bottom here with the cantrips is Acid Splash. And I'm kind of just gonna go through them, and you you can kind of think on which kind of casting style it is. I'll try to assign one to it. I probably should have like noted that whenever I jotted things down, but eh, that's too much work. So yes, with Acid Splash, my very first thought with that one, hey, Cornwallis himself, Mr. Roberto. How's it going with you, sir? Have you heard back in the job world, perhaps? Huh? Huh? Wink, wink, hint, hint, nudge, nudge. But I am doing well. I've had a really good day, except for work. As I unironically, nonchalantly drink from my drink. Yeah, so at work, they. Digressing again. It's what we do. You know it. I know it. We all know it. Oh, yeah. You know it. I know it. We all know it. You gotta do that thing where he opens his fingers and closes them. So at work, they trained me on this glue machine, so like I can put the brand tags onto the packages of the candy. And the first day went really well. And then the machine decided to commit seppuku. And the past 2 days, it has been horrendous. We've called the maintenance people over at least thrice a day. And it's like they'll fix one thing and then something else will go wrong. It's at a point now that I can run it pretty steadily, but it's still not perfect. And it's anything and everything will mess this machine up. So, like, I have the card stock of the brands. You put it in this little slot so that it brings it down and does its glue thing. Well, it starts messing up, so I call my trainer over, and she's like, "Oh, well, you see, it's messing up because you got too little cards in there. You need to, it needs some weight behind it." Oh, okay, well, that makes sense. So stock it up, beef it up, going through, it starts messing up again. And I'm like, yeah, it's doing it again. Oh, and yeah, there's too much weight in there. You got too many cards in there. Just give me a glue gun. I'll do it by hand. No joke. I would be so much more consistent if I just used a glue gun. But yeah, so that was my day. Let's see. I'm at a photo shoot. Hey, taking a break. Hi, Renee. And on the job front next week, I should find out. Nice. Yes. To those who are all job hunting, good luck and Godspeed. This era's really weird here in America. So all of these jobs and businesses are posting positions, but it's like nobody's hiring. It's very bizarre. And you can blame it on what or whomever you so choose. That is your God-given right of free will. And yeah, my younger brother is also job hunting. Hopefully he can find something. I recommended Sazerac to him. It'd be a bit of a drive for him. But Nick makes really good money there, and he could too, and it would get him away from his current job, which is a nightmare. Because it's like all of these businesses just simultaneously went dumb. It's, yeah, I don't know. But anywho, so, Acid Splash. The very first one that came to mind with this one is, I'm picturing this one, I think was definitely more of the sorcerer route, where they kind of like, they'll step forwards and they'll taking a deep breath and their stomach will kind of, and then you vomit out the acid splash onto the enemy. Another way, if you wanted more of a component route, well, one with that kind of vomit way, maybe they take a sip of something or eat something. Um, but then the next one that kind of came to mind was they spit into their hands, and then it they kind of and then they make the kind of acid ball and and then this would be the blood magic way of cut the hand. The blood that's there will then, very similar to the prior one, it will expand out and you. Oh yeah, I like this one. This one was kind of my wizard thought. So they have their spell tome, floating in front of them, and or they could be holding it. Either way, I really like it when it levitates in front of them. I think that's way cooler. But as it's there, they pull out a liquid and pour it onto into the book, like on the spell itself, and then it starts to kind of bubble and acid splashes out. Another way, this one, actually, yeah, I mean, this one could be sorcerer. You could kind of use this one like a wizard. Is they pull water like out of their water skin and then launch that one out. That one would be kind of more the druidic way, actually. Yeah. And then also with druidic, they could, if there was any water source nearby, they could like pull it up from there and then. Let's see. As far as an object casting for that one, you could do something kind of similar to the druid, that maybe they slam their staff down into like a puddle, and then the muddy water seeps up the staff into the top, and then they point it and it. Wand could be. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of wands, just in general. But yeah, it could be something like, you see the puddle, or you pull it from your water skin using that, and dun 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 dun. That's what goes through my head with wand casting. Is what is that? The Sorcerer's Apprentice. Man, I loved watching Fantasia as a kid. For all you youngins out there, Fantasia is an animated music video of kind of classical songs put to Disney animation. It is a great movie. I should watch that. I haven't watched that in years. Ooh. I think I have it on DVD. Anywho. Let's see. What other way could I do? Yeah, the Mickey Mop. Yep, the Sorcerer's Apprentice. Ooh, yeah. So also with spellcasting, I've been doing this a lot lately with wizards. Is as the tome is in front of them, they're reading off the incantation, and the runes of it will start to like levitate off of the book, and then they could start to swirl together like an acid ball, and then launch forwards. And sploosh. Blade Ward. Let's see, what would this one be? This one would be kind of like the Sorcerer's Way. So I was kind of picturing like you would touch the armor and then it would send like kind of a magical ripple over it, and then kind of these ethereal armor pieces would kind of appear over the armor, if they had armor, or if they didn't, then it would just make this very transparent, ethereal, kind of mystical armor over them. Another way was you touch a weapon or like a shield, and then it kind of duplicates and then starts to swirl around them, so that whenever the blow comes in, because Blade Ward like protects you from damage a bit, and so the thought was like as the weapons or the shield is swirling around you, it's like whenever they swing in to hit you, one of them catches the blow a bit and reduces the damage on you. Oh yeah, that was a fun one. The kind of the wizard way was, once again, tomes out in front. They pull out a weapon, like a dagger or something. They drop it, and it splooshes into their tome, and then the barrier kind of comes out around them. I like that one a lot. Oh yeah, I didn't really do a patron casting for Acid Splash. I'll head back to that one in a second. Let's see. But yeah, for Blade Ward, they could, call upon their patron, and, maybe their skin starts to glow with a holy light, so that when it gets struck, it's like, P'ting! Or in the Warlock's case, maybe it makes their skin kind of darken and harden, so that whenever they get hit, it, reduces that damage. Let's see. This looks like oh yeah, this is another holy way. So, they do a prayer to their god, and, just like a divine bubble comes around them, and oh yeah, and then the bard. Yeah, I didn't have a bardic way for Acid Splash either. This might be a hot take, but I'm not a fan of bards spellcasting. How it's like they have to play. I mean, the idea is that they play a song, sing a song, they do something musical that then casts the spell. I like the idea of bards. It's just the casting way seems odd to me. But I had that they sing or play a tune, and then it causes some kind of bubble, shield, barrier around them. Oh, and as always, if you're wondering, tonight, since we were going over spells and magic, I went with the most magical musician I know, and that is Michael Jackson. And so, yeah, I found this great, 2-hour playlist of his greatest hits, and it's nice. What a guy. Man. I was thinking like, oh, I'm just not getting anything for Acid Splash for like a divine way to do that one. But then I just had a good thought. So in Final Fantasy, summoners are typically these really kind of like holy priesty people. And, it's generally they summon some kind of awesome divine beast that then does the attack and then goes away. So what if for like the cleric or the paladin, they pray some kind of divine beast kind of beams down next to them, does the acid splash, and then is like, gives them a wink and then pew! And yeah, that could be the same for Warlock even. Actually, the vomit way would kind of be a more Warlock way too, because Warlocks are supposed to be the kind of darker, grosser kind of way, and that would be a grosser way to cast that spell. Let's see. So I got a lot of the cantrips here. Did I make it to any of the big boys yet? I did not. I'll do a couple more cantrips and then we'll jump up the list a little bit. Just want to try to give you all a good smorgasbord of spells. Oh, Robert, also, since you're here, I ordered myself something very special in this here pouch. Inside, there are these metal pirate coins that I got. These are my new advantage tokens. Yeah, they look real nice. They have a decent little weight to them. They got a cool design on them and everything. So yeah, that'll be fun. Let's see, is it sealed? There we go. Don't fall out now. The Goonies might come and take you. Let's see, who's next? Ooh, Booming Blade. This one is a favorite of my players. So let's see, this one's... So this one would be like... It could be like the sorcerer or druid way of doing it. But, you have your weapon and then air, you channel so air starts to swirl around the weapon, and then when you make that hit, that air kind of transfers over and starts swirling around the beast, so then when it moves, then it boom goes off. Ooh, yeah, this would yeah, I mean, this could be bard, yeah, I mean, really, sorcerer too. But you whistle a kind of a sharp tune that then makes the weapon vibrate, and then you make that hit, and the whistle kind of lingers on the beast's ears, and then whenever it moves, then that goes off. Oh yeah, I only have those two for this one. Booming blade. How would the warlock look? Oh, that's a good idea. So, you have your weapon, and then kind of those hellish glyphs start to appear on the blade. You make the strike, and then those glyphs start to appear like on the body of the creature, and then when it moves, it booms. Sorry, Mike. What would be another way to do this? Yeah, I didn't really have an object casting for Blade Ward, cause yeah, using a staff can be cool for certain spells, but it also would just be really redundant for them. And that's why I kind of don't like staff casting, or even like you could have like a crystal ball or something. Booming blade. Well, druid could be that air swirly one. How would a cleric do that one? I feel like this one would be reused a lot, but I mean the weapon could just have a glow to it that then transfers over, and boom, you could do the opposite of the warlock, and some holy symbols start to appear on the blade. You could go kind of a little bit of a goofy divine route, and that whenever they get struck, they see these two angels on their side with like trumpets, and then whenever they move, they brrr, and that causes the boom. That was pretty good. I like that one. I'm gonna put that one down. And then yeah, let me put that warlock one down, because that was a good idea. Let's see. Oh yeah, these are good too. So for chill touch, you read the incantation from your tome, and a skeletal crown appears on the creature's head, causing the necrotic damage. And because the thing with chill touch 2 is it prevents them from like regaining hit points, and so by having the crown kind of stay there, and then you call upon your patron's power, summoning a reaper that kind of appears, and then it slashes them with its scythe. And so as that wound is kind of in them, it takes effect. Here faith calls a divine arrow that pierces the creature. Let's see. Would be a good druid way. Let's see, it's necrotic. You could, I guess you could do something where like a icy skeletal hand kind of like comes over and just kind of rests onto their chest, and then it does that necrotic, because I would say ice is often associated with kind of death, and that's what necrotic basically is. Let's see. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, this is a good one. For dancing lights, the caster pulls out a glowworm and eats it. And then their palms start to glow, emitting those, it can be like, what, 4 orbs of light, or you can smush them together into a bigger ball. And but yeah, then that glow from the worm will basically just come out of you, and you cool blue blue. And then on a similar vein, the caster pulls out the glowworm and duplicates them. And so then those 4 glowworms then kind of start to levitate out, and they glow as they're kind of hovering around. Oh, if it's an accidental gummy worm, well, then you might have to roll the wild magic table and see what happens, or the DM can make up some happenstance that comes from the failed casting of it. Let's see, and then oh yeah, the caster pulls light from a source. So, let's say somebody has a torch. The druid can then be like, oh hey, let me borrow that. Oh, after a prayer, 4 large. Oh yeah, that's also a good one. It could be a prayer or just kind of a casting way, but the 4 kind of larger fireflies, butterflies, it could maybe even be doves, but then they kind of come out and they glow, a real kind of naturey, ethereal nature kind of casting for that one. Let's see. Let's skip down. I got some other cantrips on here, but let's go look at the first level spells. Let's see what we got in there. Cantrips, let's see. So the very first one that came up in the list is Absorb Elements. Range of Self, Components, Semantics. So let's think. For this one, for patron casting, maybe kind of a barrier of whatever it is, whether it's divine or not, but it appears in front of you, and so then when that element strikes it, it then absorbs in some of it, reducing the damage on you. As far as components, I kind of don't like semantic, like doing little mostly because I'm not really creative enough to think of like, oh yeah, how would I position my hands to make a symbol? But let's see, if I was gonna do that one, you could do, you kind of avatar bend the water out of your water skin, and it comes up in front of you, and so it strikes that. Or you could like slam your staff down or stomp down, and then earth comes up and takes the hit. the wizard, as they would have to, have the spell, maybe it's this real quick, like, incantation that they quickly sight off, and then it puts this barrier in front. Blood magic? How would I do this one? Could be kind of on the same line. Do a quick cut. Blood barrier comes out. Or even with that one, it could be the blood barrier comes out and then, like, devours the element that you're being attacked with. Up next is Alarm. Okay, here we go. So this one has verbal, semantic, and material. A tiny bell and a piece of fine silver wire. So yeah, I know, I think in one of the critical roles, he did something where he, you kind of string that silver wire across with the bell hanging on it. Kind of like a magical trip wire. Ooh, I would even say, as they're, you're stringing this thing up, you're saying the incantation, and then whenever you finish it, wherever it is, it vanishes. But it's still, it's kind of just invisible. So then whenever they walk through it, they wouldn't feel the wire, or they wouldn't run into the bell physically, but it would be like they pass through it, and then in the caster's ears and just in their head, they would hear it, or probably even feel it go off. The on a similar vein with that, the blood magic guy could, sprinkle a little trail of blood across, so that whenever they cross over it, the alarm goes off. What would be a good nature-y way for, like, the druid? Maybe for the druid, they wouldn't need any of the components per se, but they would kind of enchant, like, a squirrel or something to kind of sit at a spot, so that whenever the people went by, it would be like, me, and start shrieking. That would be a really fun way to do that spell. A cleric would probably be something along a similar vein of, like, maybe a cherub gets summoned, like an invisible one, and so it's kind of just like hanging out. And for the warlock, it could be like a spirit. I mean, and it wouldn't even really have to be warlock. I mean, some clerics could probably do that too. But yeah, it could be like a lost soul or something that's just wandering around, and they're like, hey, come over here. Will you warn me if something comes over? And the soul's just like, sure. That's a good one. I like that one. Yeah, let's get some more with some more components, because that's really where it starts to shine. So animal friendship requires a morsel of food. That one's kind of straightforward-ish. Maybe, you enchant the food, and so whenever they eat it, then it kind of like flows into them, whether that's magic or you coat it in your blood, and then whenever they eat it, you kind of take over. Let's see. Armor of Agathis has all three of them. Cup of Water. And yeah, that one, I would say, you pull that water out of your water skin, it starts to flow around you, and then it hardens into ice, making that kind of armor on you. It could be, yeah, maybe you drop some of your blood into the water, and then you drink it, and then the ice kind of grows out of you. If you're in a snowy place, like the druid could make the snow like flow onto them, and then once when it's like compacted onto the druid, then it kind of sheens over into the ice. Or if you wanted to go the goofy route, they just look like a giant snowman with all the snow packed onto themselves. Let's see, Arms of Hadar. Yeah, just verbal and semantic. You don't have any components, but let's see what we can do for you. Okay. Tendrils of dark energy erupt from you and batter all creatures within 10 feet of you. Okay, so dark tentacles says from you, so I'm picturing that they come out of your body. So yeah, they could do some kind of dark chant, and then you see them start to creep out, and whoosh, the yeah, could be a darker prayer, and oh yeah, maybe you open your mouth and the tendrils come out and lash from there. It could be maybe like a hell portal kind of opens at the underneath their feet, and then that kind of slithers out and slaps around. It doesn't have any components, but what would I add to this one if I wanted to? For the yeah, I mean for the blood cleric, or well, just what if you like cut into your stomach and then they kind of peel the flesh back a little bit, and then it whips out that way. A component. Something dark. Ooh. What if like a wizard had? Wow, I just lost the name of this. Onyx. yeah, what if they had like a onyx gem? Because that's a real kind of jet black kind of gemstone, and maybe they've had it inscribed, and then as they're reading off the spell, these tendrils start to erupt out of the gemstone. That's actually a pretty cool way to, it's almost like they have a creature trapped inside of it. Mm, mm. Okay, we went through a couple first levels. Let's head up to. Oh, and of course, if there's a spell that in particular that you would like me to try to create ways to cast for it, comment in and then let me know. Because maybe you have a spell that you really like, but you just like, yeah, how would I cast this one? Or, this is what I would picture it as. What do you picture it as? Because back when Baldur's Gate 3 kind of came out and was picking up steam, Courtney came in all excited because she had been playing it, and she was like, I had this image of what Eldritch Blast looked like, but then I played the game and how they did it. It had such an oomph to it, and yeah, it was like, oh, I didn't really picture Eldritch Blast in that way, but yeah, that was cool. That was a good way of casting it. I'll potentially, maybe, eventually play Baldur's Gate 3. I'm just waiting for the right sale, and also, I'm so backlogged as it is, it just feels wrong to get a new game. But I've been playing Final Fantasy IX for the first time, and it's the old school one. I think they're working on like a remaster or something, but it's fantastic. I enjoyed playing through 7. That one was good and had good storytelling to it. But man, 9 feels so much better than 7. And it has Vivi in it, the black mage, and he has always been Final Fantasy to me. Like his look, his little blue jacket with the little wizard hat, and yeah, like he has, for whatever reason, he has been the epitome of Final Fantasy to me, and so I've always have loved him, and now that I'm actually playing it, I love him. Oh my gosh, his story wrecks me every time I play it. Oh, and it keeps getting better and better. Maybe I'll play that whenever I get home. But there's the kids. They're hogging my TV. I didn't even finish my first run with Baldur's Gate 3. Oh no. That's all right. Yeah, no, I understand that. I'm I'm a little tired of open world games. Like, give me the structure and just take me through the map, man. Like, everything doesn't have to be open world. They made, I mean, they did Breath of the Wild, and it's not that the Zeldas kind of weren't open world before, but I mean, Breath of the Wild took it in a grander sense, and it just didn't feel right. And then they open-worlded Halo Infinite, and I was actually surprised at how well that one worked. I didn't think I was going to like it as much. I still would have preferred a more streamlined, route. But no, Halo Infinite was really good. I enjoyed that one. And I also just really was digging the storyline of that one. Let's see. Ooh, yeah, this is a good one to try out. So it moves up to second level. Let's do... Actually, yeah, let's do both of these. So first one is Agon... Oh, gosh. Agonazar's Scorcher. Whew, that's a word. So this one requires a red dragon scale, which is a pretty interesting casting component. So one way I see this is you take the scale and... I mean, I guess it would depend on how big you're picturing this scale. But you could, like, stick it to their forehead, and then it starts to, like, spread over their body, and then you cast this line of roaring flame. Maybe you breathe it out, or then you kind of burning hands it. Final flash! That kind of stuff. Or another way is you take that dragon scale and you down it. And similar to before, maybe you start to change a little bit, get a more draconic visual, and then you... Red dragon scale. Oh. Okay, so it does say it is a line of roaring flame, 30 feet long and 5 wide. Oh, so it's like a beam of fire. You could also you place it down on the ground and it morphs into like a little dragon that then... And then it does its little Pokemon attack, and then it shrivels back up into the scale and... It could be... Ooh, yeah. You could do something where you have the scale in your hand, and then you pull fire from a torch or a campfire or something, and you infuse it into the scale, and then you jab. Gosh, spellcasting's so cool. Is my... Because, yeah, I have a friend that's gonna, in an unbeknownst time, he's going to start up a campaign on the alternate Fridays out in Corridon, like I do, with my buddies. But I'm trying to remember what my character is that I made for that one. Did I make him a spellcaster? I did. Yeah. So, I'm gonna be able to scratch that itch a little bit. Yeah, he's actually gonna be kind of a little bit of a melee caster. I'd say mostly caster, though. He's a genie warlock, Ifriti. So the fire genie. Oh, Thriller came on. I've been meaning to look this up because I'm really curious on to the origin of Thriller, because how the lyrics are, it seems like such a tribute to horror movies that I wonder if, like, was Michael Jackson like a horror movie fan? Did he? I could picture him being excited to like go and get scared, like to go see a spooky movie. And so yeah, I need to look that up to see like is that the thing? Because it's such a good song. Oh my gosh. And that monologue from Vincent Price in it is, it's phenomenal. Okay, up next is Aid. Ooh, this one has a tiny strip of white cloth. Okay, so let's say you're a cleric. So you have this strip of white cloth. It starts to glow with kind of a white holy light, and then you you don't even have to put it around the wound. Like you wrap it because it says it's a tiny strip. So I'm not thinking it would be very long unless they're thinking tiny this way, but yeah, you just kind of wrap it onto the person and then it flows through. It could even be you take that white cloth and you stick it onto the wound, even if it doesn't cover it, you stick it on there and then that holy energy seeps in and does the healing. Mm. Of course, if you were using blood magic with that one, you would probably soak that white cloth in your blood and then stick it on your ally. I'm not getting anything kind of unique for warlock for that one. White strip. Maybe maybe for the druid, they would like dip it in water or have water involved in it, and so then kind of like before when they put it on it, the water then kind of seeped from it and did the healing. Oh, air bubble. Okay, so this one, I mean, I'm picturing they put some water in their hand, make the okay sign, kind of, and the bubble comes out and just boop, boop, around your ally's head. It could also be you pour water onto them, and then as it's flowing over, it forms the bubble. You could also do, you know, the maybe the caster just kind of blows towards the person, and then the air starts to swirl around their head, making the air bubble. Hmm. I would even say too, you could get spicy with this one and say like maybe when the warlock casts it, because if you haven't noticed, warlocks, I always think of them as being kind of body horror in a way, or basically they are the gross casters. And so for the warlock, they cast air bubble on somebody, and then painfully they start to sprout these gills on their, on their neck or something. Let's see. Broken twig. Let's find another good one. Something with a good component to it. Gold is worth at least. Ooh, okay. Yeah, this is the first one. Arcane Lock. So this is the first one I've come across where it says, one, it says that it has the gold amount, like, it has to be gold dust worth at least 25 gold pieces. But then it also has which the spell consumes. So, yeah, like for this one, maybe there's a lock on it. Does it affect magical kind of locks too, or just physical ones? Close and ray. Oh, and it becomes locked. I don't know why I was thinking that it unlocked things. Okay. So yeah, you kind of magically lock this object. You can also set a password that unlocks it. Okay, so you could have the gold dust in your hand and, maybe maybe you just smear it onto the door or the object, the chest, what have you, and then it kind of does a little and then seals it. Maybe you take it and you blow the dust onto it, and then it, does the same thing. It adds that lock. Maybe the gold dust forms into a physical lock onto the object, and it could still have that password, or you could even be like, and then after it makes the lock, these a couple keys appear in your hand from the gold dust, and you could give them to your allies, and then they could unlock it that way. Yeah, blood way would be in blood. You write little sigils on the door with the gold dust in the blood. That's a cool way. Let's see, what time is it? 8:50? All right. Man, this flew by. 7:30. Yeah, hour and a half would be 9. Oh, that does not sound like a Michael Jackson song. That was weird. You never know with these YouTube things. That one's a little weird. We're gonna skip ahead. Let's see. Since we're getting low on time, let's jump way ahead. Let's look at the 9th level spells. How would we do these ones? Ooh, so like power word kill. For the bloodcaster, I mean, it would be like they stick their tongue out and they cut it off, just and then they speak, and then it's just death that comes from them. The the wizard could, they read off the spell, the runes of the spell come off the pages and then flow into their mouth, and then when they speak the word, and they kill. Um, yeah, the cleric and warlock could say like a prayer or even a name, like for the warlock, it could be like Beelzebub, and then they would see this demonic kind of spectral hand reach into the person, and then on the opposite side, like for the cleric, they say the name or the prayer, and then it's like this holy ray kind of just like disintegrates the soul on the inside, and they Druid. How would you do this one, Druid? Ooh. The Druid would have to, I'm picturing they would have to have maybe like a little, they can be Jack Sparrow, and they can have a little jar of dirt from a grave, and then either they have to eat some of it, or they speak and they kind of blow on some of the dirt in their hand, but then it summons that death, and activates the power word to kill. What song? Didn't you play this song already? Okay, you seem like you're repeating for some reason, so thank you, Michael Jackson. We'll go to somebody else real quick in the interim. Nah, it's close enough. We'll just stop the tunes altogether. But yeah, that's a cool way to do that one. Yeah, all right. Well, that was fun. Yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this one, and maybe it helped spark some ideas of how to spellcast for your own characters, or even how to describe them for your players. Yes, spellcasting, it has so much potential in there. And to all you spellcaster players out there, get into your spells, man. Don't just say you cast, healing word. Describe it. Get into it. How does it work? How does it look and feel? Cuz it'll radically change your immersion into it. It'll probably surprise the other people at the table. Spellcasting is so much fun. Being a martial class, don't get me wrong, I love my martial classes. Because you can get, you can get creative with how the attacks are, but you're also, you're kind of limited to how many ways you can attack, But yeah, spellcasters, you get such freedom in how you do it. And yeah, don't know where I was going with that, but that's where that thought ended, apparently. But with that, thank you all for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this. Be sure to like, subscribe, do the social media thing I know you know how to do. In the interim, the Ren Fair may be over. However, we will be back there this November for the Fenrir Fair. It's like the Viking Celtic weekend in November. It's I think it's like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the 6th to the 8th. But we'll only be there running games on the 7th and the 8th. And I'm sure they'll probably be the same times as before. So just be on the lookout for that. Join our Discord so you can stay up to date on all the wayward goodness. Yeah, get your drinking horns. Be ready to have fun. Grab a turkey leg. Boy, are they pricey, but it was good. It was really good. They also had, actually, yeah, probably while we're there this time, they had chicken on a stick as well as steak on a stick. So I might try one of those, see how those ones are. So yeah, we got that. Yeah, you do. And yeah, I'm sure turkeys, not really sure what they eat. I'm sure they have some kind of like feed you can get them. But I would imagine that's probably pricey too. But if you're feeling zesty and want to come watch, as the table is full, but we, once a month at Geek Out here in Sellersburg, we do a monthly little campaign session there. Lightbringers, you all can stop in, watch, listen, grab yourself a cup of coffee. It's an awesome little place. I love it. It's so much fun. The names of their drinks are phenomenal, and whoever their artist person is there does a really good job. Because they typically will have different little chalk drawings on their board. They also run 40K little Warhammer tournaments like once or twice a month. So if you're into that, check out Geek Out Cafe. On the opposite side of town, out in Corridon, there's Critical Hits Gaming. It's a little hobby shop in downtown Corridon, kind of down there by Zimmerman Glass. And yeah, you can get Magic cards, Pokemon cards. He's just started recently getting comic books. So if you're into comic books, give it a stop by and, take a look at what he has. But yeah, they seem to always be hosting some kind of tournament, whether it be Pokemon, Magic. They did a Super Smash Bros. Tournament a while back. And so yeah, if you're looking to just get out there, build that little community of dorks, these are the places to go. Both of the owners are just super awesome. Let's see. Ren Fair, cool places. And yeah, that's all I got for you. Be on the lookout. Starting next month at some point, I'm waiting on you, Patrick. We will be starting a new once-a-monther stream on here, featuring the one and only Robert Cornwallis, and I also gave him that last name as I felt it fit. And we will be starting the Life Will campaign, which you all have heard me talk about in the world building streams plenty enough. And so now you'll actually get to kind of experience it in real time. I've gotten characters from Robert and Courtney. And so, yep, just waiting on Mr. Patrick. He's given me 2 options that he's kind of mulling over. I leaned more towards one. Courtney kind of leaned more towards the other one. But I mean, really, both of them have potential, whichever one he goes with. And yeah, curious to see how fun that one be. And we say once a month, which I'm sure it'll probably stay that way. But who knows? It might grow into more than just once, depending. You never know. Life's awesome like that. Plus, we just really like playing D&D. But before I rant on any further, once again, thank you for tuning in. Have a wonderful night. And as always, remember that freedom always crits. And go to church. Bye.